struggling, honestly, to make it work. I have to say, I struggle more with inner demons than with the world telling me, no, you can't make this kind of cinema. Films, wherever they are in the world, it has become a smaller world in some way. Absolutely. Well, I think anyone who's married will tell you that yes, marriage has its challenges, and people will know me as Aamir's wife till I die, and I'm like, okay, whatever. For some people, that's their understanding of who I am. That's okay. You come out of film school brimming with confidence, and you're going to make a film in 2 years after graduating. When thoda sa paisa banana, let me get set, I'll make a film. It took me 12 years or 13 years after I came out of Jamia to make my first film. Rowdiness. Rowdiness? How rowdy are you? Quite.
For all film-related interviews, reviews and content, please like and subscribe to Pooja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
Kiran, lovely to meet you. I want to know why have you been lapaata for so long?
I know I've been struggling, honestly, to make work. I've been writing relentlessly for the last 10 years. I continue to work on the same projects that I started in 2012, which was when I finished, having Azad and all the rest of it. So it was a struggle really to find the right project. And while I still love these projects, they just weren't cooked to the right degree. They were not ready. And I, then in 2018, Aamir told me this story that he had read as the result of being part of a screenwriting competition. He was a judge of a screenwriting competition. And when I heard it, I kind of felt like this is it. I think lots of filmmakers will tell you that your second film is much harder than your first. Because your first film, you put everything personal into it. It's obviously terrifying, but it's also your chance to, present your unique voice, And when you've made a film which you're happy with, and I was really happy with Bhoomihat, and it was very well received, the pressure is what next? Yeah. And every second film for a filmmaker is the chance to go big, or the chance to do something completely different and defy the expectations of the first. I guess I felt maybe trapped to that because I just wasn't happy with what I was writing, and now when I look at it, I was like, this was fine, we could have made it then, Sure. So it's a headspace, I suppose, and things falling in place at the right time, I don't know.
And I would say this is Kiran Rao's version of a masala blockbuster. There is an innocence, a subtlety, and a simplicity to this.
Thank you. Yes, it is pretty much. I mean, the story actually had so much that could be, it's very accessible, it's a very broad story, and I knew that I wanted to share it with a lot more people than Bhoomihat, so I knew the tone and tenor would be my Masi. But within that Masi kind of, the world, I knew that I bring a certain kind of aesthetic to it, which is not necessarily what people will term Masi. Also, in the writing of this film, we knew what we wanted to do with it, while we aimed at making it highly entertaining, but we knew we wanted to have a lot more than just, the plot and character in it. So, yeah, it's my Masi, definitely. I'm hoping it becomes my Masi.
It's extremely entertaining, and I'm just so glad that the landscape has changed from the time we made Bhoomihat.
That's true. Yeah. That is true, because, there were only cinemas. Even in Bhoomihat, I used to feel like, oh my god, so much has changed because everything was shifting to digital around then. And I had shot it on film, so everything had to be converted to digital, So, in that sense, even during Bhoomihat, I did feel like, oh, the sands are shifting and things are changing. But, 13 years later, the world has changed beyond recognition, of course, with the smartphones and internet and social media and all the rest of it. And honestly, now, in some ways, it makes, there's a lot more space maybe even for people to tell different kinds of stories as a result. And for us perhaps to reach our audience wherever they are in the world, it has become a smaller world in some way.
Absolutely. And also, two questions. One, could you have been making this film in 2001? Secondly, also the female gaze. I like the gaze. I won't call it, it's a gender neutral gaze, but now we see a lot more stories being said from that perception, the perspective. Do you think that was not possible earlier? Did you struggle with that? Like telling your own story, creating your own brand?
Right. Honestly, I was quite lucky because the film that I wrote, my first film, the only person, I mean, the first person, first producer I narrated it, who loved it and made it. So I guess I cannot at all say that I struggled with Bodyguard, and I guess I was very lucky only because I knew it was highly unusual in terms of its, its form, but I knew the story was kind of universal. People would perhaps like it, but in the grammar, like you said, it was not what people were accustomed to. And for Aamir to actually believe in it and put his money and himself in it was a big thing, honestly, a big, sort of vote of confidence for me as a filmmaker and honestly for the film because we did well at the box office, the film was well received. So I really owe it to Aamir. I don't feel I struggled at all to find, my voice back then. But since then, yes, I did struggle. And again, this time I was lucky that again Aamir found the story for me. In fact, this time it isn't something I've written. It's a story written by Biplab Goswami, which then we brought on Sneha Desai to write the screenplay for. We got Divyanidhi Sharma to write, additional dialogue. So it's been a journey. I have to say I struggled more with inner demons than with the world telling me, no, you can't make this kind of cinema.
Also, what's interesting is, I know Aamir Productions, you've been an integral part, but you've never let that form down your identity and your expression, how you have your own production.
Yeah.
So, how is that working out? When I see produced by Aamir, produced by Kiran Rao, and there's really much fun.
Yeah. I've been part of Aamir Productions now for 17 years. And I'm so proud of the work that we've made over the years. I feel very connected to all the stories we've told, and honestly, I think it's not like I could ever sever my ties.
Yeah.
In fact, I remain very much part of American Productions in spirit, and even for whenever they need me. But I did think that it was sort of the best time to be testing my own ideas out, which may or may not be to Aamir's taste. Perhaps not everything I make Aamir will want to back. And I thought it was a good time to, devote myself to these ideas that I've been incubating for 10 years. So yeah, we're kindling hopefully a lot of magic at Kindling Pictures.
Kindling is kicking. And also, it's interesting when you were writing this, there was a time when your own marriage was going through its own turbulence. Did that come somewhere impact you or, because you basically respond to the situations.
Yeah. Well, I think anyone who's married will tell you that yes, marriage has its challenges, and certainly, I've had my share of we've had our fights, our dealing with things, and we actually, in fact, Aamir and I haven't ever really fought. It's very strange. We have our disagreements, but we never have big fights. So we've never had a big fight. That's also because I think we respect each other a lot and we understand each other quite well. And, it's really a case of finding the right argument to convince the other person or be convinced that we both are absolutely, we're shameless like that. We don't feel like, oh, I'm so too proud to agree. So that's been one of the advantages actually of being in this marriage, is that there was no real turbulence of that kind, which lots of people do go through. We've had our share of ups and downs and things, but never anything that I could term, anything even vaguely acrimonious,
And what's really beautiful is I really mean this as a compliment, is that both of you proved if one aspect of a relationship, that doesn't mean the other, core relationships also end with that. Because whether it was Anna's way, co-parenting Azam, it's just beautifully done. I mean, touch wood, but does it take a lot of it, or is it just very effortless?
It's been very effortless, honestly, because I think this is something, perhaps, it's an environment we've developed over the years. I mean, Rina has always been very much part of the family, even after their divorce. The kids were very much part of mine after, we got married. So, I guess it's never even been an issue or a question in my mind that my family will remain my family. They'll remain my family. It's really about like how when you change the definition of your relationship. The relationship is if it's a strong one, if it's something that you value, you won't want to lose the relationship. So yeah, it wasn't something that we didn't have to work to find our perhaps our new equation and understand how we would in some ways action it in real life, because we continue to work together and we still have our separate lives. So it's we've arrived at it slowly.
No, that's absolutely lovely. And also, I like the fact that he's been wearing the t-shirt,
Yeah.
and really putting himself out there. But I know he is this larger than life superstar. But there is the when you tell him like, I don't need you here. It's okay, fine, you can come in here. Do you think that you need to work on that? Because sometimes it feels like when someone of this marriage team may just like about you overwhelmed.
Honestly, I've never felt like he can overshadow me, because I've never desired some sort of some validation or some limelight that I've not got. Honestly, I came into the limelight because of him. So it's all his. Honestly, I've always been, and people will know me as Aamir's wife till I die, and I'm like, okay, whatever. For some people, that's their understanding of who I am. That's okay. It doesn't change my relationship with myself, which is great, or my relationship with people around me. And Aamir is acutely sensitive to this also, but I use him more than tell him to get out of the way. I'm like, you have to be here. We need you for this, So I absolutely, use him when I need him to promote the film, and he happily comes for promotions. I'm kidding, because he's been very, very keen to promote this film. He believes in it a lot, but he's just been busy shooting, so he hasn't been able to go everywhere. But yeah, he's. I think I'm way past the point at which he could overshadow me, because that was initially when I just started dating him. It used to, it used to annoy me, because I was just some girl attached to him. So, and I was I had my own strong identity for myself, at least, and for my people who knew me. So, it's taken me a while to just, not let it bother me. It doesn't bother me.
And another thing, it's just so heartening to see, not even the film perspective, but women's cinema getting strong. If you compare it to the time, what would you say was your inherent struggle? Now, this is Sam, who was with Aamir production, but Kiran, who from NCRC, wanted to make it big in cinema. What do you think that policy has now changed than what you had imagined then? So, impossible is now happening.
I know. Yeah, when I think back of when I was making my diploma film at MCRC, and you come out of film school brimming with confidence, and you're going to make a film in 2 years after graduating. When thoda sa paisa banana, let me get set, I'll make a film. It took me 12 years or 13 years after I came out of Jamia to make my first film, and then 13 years after that to make my second. So it's not been, I suppose, all a super smooth journey in that sense. I suppose I had, I've had a lot of learnings along the way. It's changed in the sense that I do see now that I do have a voice. You come out from school being told, or at least feeling like I have something unique that I can share with the world. And with my first film, I really wanted to do that, and I took my time, and when I made it, I felt it was very me, it was very much a part of me. And then it took me as long to make my second, and this, strangely enough, as poles apart as it is from my first, I feel it's very much me.
Yeah.
So I think when I think back of myself out of it, I feel, I would never thought I would be in this position, honestly, making all kinds of films, and having a chance to share my stories like this.
Absolutely, and then now with the ladies, because it's environment very different. It's set in 2001, and this quirky tale, as I would say, these two brides speak strong, but it's also self-identity, finding your voice and your freedom. And I like the fact that the men also, I like deeper and ease relationship. I mean, could you find yourself in one of these ladies?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a little of me in almost all these ladies, but I think I most strongly identify with almost with Manjumai, the Dadi at the station. Yeah, she was my personal, in a sense, insertion into Biplab's original script because I really wanted a character like her who would, prove that women can do it in some ways. So yeah, I guess a little bit of everyone, honestly.
And I also like a democratic approach because, I mean, knowing your access, you can have got anyone. Because even these days, so-called commercial actors are dying to do something different, and Hatike is now being different. But choose to work with newcomers. No, of course, application. Is there something that you consciously do that I'd rather not have an A-lister? I'd rather see someone who is absolutely raw and untouched.
Honestly, I feel each story demands a different kind of casting. And in Dhobighat, I genuinely again felt that fresh faces would be best. Of course, Aamir is in the film, and that sometimes lots of people have told me that, that was the one thing I just felt like, the rest were very, very. It tends to make a film, tip a film over sometimes. I feel like Aamir's performance is just pitch perfect for the film. But I understand that idea that when you're doing something with all fresh actors, that you kind of want to keep that balance, and that's what we wanted for Lapaata ladies also. But having said that, it's not that big stars can't produce or they can't play these roles. It's just I imagine that it would be so much more fresh and believable and in some ways authentic with an entirely new cast of people who you don't know what to expect and what to expect from, So yeah, that was the idea. But maybe my next film will be with superstars.
Who knows? Waiting for that. I mean, not that Aamir didn't make the cut in audition. So yeah, be there. She didn't play the superstars as well.
Yeah.
Also, in the fact that you're not very social media savvy, I would say. This time, there's social currency.
I do have an Instagram account now. Just recently, yeah. Rowdiness.
Rowdiness? How rowdy are you?
Quite. All the same.
But bringing up your child, because whether it was Aaron, Jenna, and whether it's Azad, you managed to put them away from the spotlight. Once they happen in their parents' life. But with that scrutiny always on them, do you think it becomes, for the child, it's like, I need to be seen?
Yeah, I do think it's a struggle for star kids, honestly, because there's this perverse interest in what they look like, what they're doing, what they're wearing, where they're going, and people love stars, and people automatically therefore want to see what their children turn out like. I suppose it's understandable, but it's something that obviously I've in some ways tried not to let Azad be affected by so much because he has his own kind of personality, his own identity, and I really wanted to develop that without having to perform for social media, and I do think that it should be his prerogative whether he appears in social media or not. I mean, of course, paparazzi pictures coming going somewhere, which is all fine, but becoming his own person should be able to share the person he is with people at the time when he's comfortable to share. So we've been trying to allow him his privacy. When he does want to come out, he does, and otherwise he stays by himself. And now he's growing up, so I guess he will also get onto social media at some point and have his own voice. So till then, he can be himself quietly in his room.
And last question, I've always admired your style question. It's effortless, it's your own, and it's also eclectic in some way. So how would you describe Kiran Rao's fashion look?
Oh, okay. How would I describe it? I suppose I really value comfort. I know it sounds really ridiculous because many people say this, but I do value because fashion is a skin that you wear. Yeah. It's a disguise that you wear. And you can only, you should only wear something that you feel in some way reflects some part of you. So I feel like I need to feel myself in what I wear. And it could be quite different what I wear from day to day. It could be like, like an oversized t-shirt, it could be like a very tailored dress, but I enjoy it. I enjoy, trying on different silhouettes. I like different colors. I'm very, I'm very interested in fashion actually, even as a skill, as an art form, So yeah, I experiment a lot with the stuff that I wear as, as I suppose I'm a bit of a shopaholic and a hoarder. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, I should really relax and, not be so interested in wearing different things. And, I'm trying to detach, but it doesn't happen. Because when you like clothes, you just like clothes. And I genuinely enjoy dressing the way I dress. It's not, sometimes I look quite like random. But that's also, it's very, very mood based. I feel like that probably what how fashion should be. Absolutely. You dress for your state of mind more than I do in dress.
I agree with that. And thank you so much. I hope you don't need to wait another 13 years for the third one.
I really hope not.
You start
don't
all
want
the
to
way.
do that again.
We're looking forward to that commercial blockbuster.
Blockbuster, come on.
But in Kiran Rao's class, that will be interesting to see. Thank you so much. More power to you.
Thank you.
And to watch this is quite the right. Literally quite the right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.